Well, guys, I worked a little bit yesterday evening on this, and I shaped the eye sockets out a little better. In this particular model, this is just a Halloween type decoration or a plastic skull, and it's not really anatomically correct. These actually square out a bit more in the corners. So as you can see, I started squaring them out here a little bit. I thought it was kind of fun how he was getting this little eyeball in there with the wood chips, but so I left him in there just for amusement. Um, Now his nasal spine on this one's broke off. So I have a little bit of a nasal spine here. I'm going to take a Dremel tool here just a second and depthen some, because what's going to strengthen this guy up right now is some good depth in key areas, which let's talk about a couple of them right quick. See here where I've started back in here at the back of the teeth and here at the top of the jawbone. See, I started coming in here, getting some depth. I'm getting some depth here behind the jawbone here. And I'll give you guys an idea around here what I did. I started getting some of this depth. Here. And behind these teeth is where I really want to get some good depth in here. And I wanted to get some of this depth on the top of that jawbone right in here. I had thought about going through behind this zygomatic arch thing. See, there is a hole here where you can go all the way through behind there. But this particular piece of aspen still had a lot of moisture in it. And I was afraid if I went digging in behind there very deeply that it would check and crack in two, which in a way for a skeleton head, a little bit of crack here and there. And it doesn't really matter much, but anyway, this particular piece of aspen has quite a bit of moisture left in it. It wasn't green, but it sure had lots of moisture in there. So my goal here, I'm going to get some good depth behind, because what I can do at this point is anywhere that I can add some depth in is beginning to strengthen this carving up more and more. For instance, just what little depth I'm digging right here. All of a sudden you can see I'm capturing a shadow back in there. Starting to strengthen him up there. Here at the back of the teeth. Get some good depth back in here. So anytime now, I can begin to draw his teeth on there. Now, supposedly you have 16 teeth on the upper and 16 teeth on the lower, which would make you 32 teeth. But a lot of people don't have that many teeth because they've lost some here and there. And if you're doing a skeleton, let's say for realistic purposes to study, that's what we're trying to do here, is to study the foundation of the human face. We would like to try to get it as accurate as possible. So what I will do is I'll draw starting right in the middle here, and I'm going to begin to draw myself 16 teeth on the top, and I'll draw 16 teeth down here on the bottom. And at that point, you guys, I'm just simply going to take a small V-tool and begin to V-tool. And you don't want a real straight line. You notice there, I kind of meandered my line a little bit up and down because this ain't a dead straight line. It's, they kind of jig-jag a little bit. But I'll go around here and V-tool my teeth first with a V-tool like this. And as I get them V-tooled, I'll start knocking the edges off from them, and I'll start putting some niches in the bottom along here. You're kind of rounding the bottoms of the teeth up is what you're doing. Then, to finish on in with, I would sit here with my knife and begin to pick a little tiny piece for the depth out of there. There's just enough moisture in this wood that the chips don't want to fall out real easy. They're still kind of hanging together a little. But you're after some depth in between these teeth a little. And of course, I can shape them. I can sit here and shape each one of the teeth. As you can see, it would take me a while to come around here and do these and then the bottom teeth in there. So for a little bit, I'm going to work on some depth on my jaw. I'm going to work on my teeth here. You guys might notice that I started putting some puzzle pieces on the bottom here because it's kind of unexplained and you can't really get in there and start putting any vertebrae or anything like that in because it wouldn't be strong enough to hold the skeleton head up there. So I'm just going to fill in. My go-to thing a lot of times when I can't tell the truth on something is I'll throw a bunch of puzzle pieces in there, or I'll go to clouds. Sometimes just turn this into a cloud that he's coming up out of. I will do a little bit of Dremel tooling, for instance, in here. Of course, this wood is kind of damp, so it doesn't cut real well with the Dremel tool at all. But I will sit there and work some nice depth in two cavities on each side of his nasal area here. So basically, you guys, I'm going to clean up these deep areas on each side for some strength here and here. I'm going to begin to place his teeth in across top and bottom. And then I'm just simply going to clean up and throw a few more puzzle pieces on the bottom of here just because, something to do in there. And I may get a little more depth where the zygomatic arch thing is here. See, I'm not real deep in there right now. I could get in here and get some depth. So those are the areas I'm going to work on this one. I actually been working a little bit on, I showed you my basswood one that I have going. This is the aspen log. And it carves okay. If I had to do it again in aspen, I would try to find a piece of wood that was a little bit drier because he's already developed some cracks in him to the point where when I'm not working on him, I've been covering him up with a plastic bag because if he dries out too quick, he'll start cracking. And I also have our butternut guy out there, which he'll be a bit surprised for you guys next time you see him. Let me say this about the butternut guy. is he began to turn a little bit alien on us, which I'll show you in just a little bit. Well, I got these teeth on this guy. I'm still a little wide on his jaw here, or his, I'm going to call it his mouth barrel where his teeth goes. I'm a little wide there, but I got his teeth all carved in there, and I tried to get some depth in there. I got the depth that I was talking about in here. I reshaped some on his mask bone, his cheekbone area and stuff. Now, here's an area back here, an odd area on the skull where these bumps are. Um, I went to the book, the anatomy book, because I was looking at the book and it shows these bumps here. Well, the more I was studying which is what we're doing, you guys, we're studying the skull here. And I found out that that's where these sternomastoid muscles, see them right here? They come up and hook on to that bump right behind the ear there. So I was doing some studying. See the bump I'm talking about right here. And those muscles is what motivates your neck back, or, your head, your neck muscles there. So anyway, I got the teeth in. I decided back here, I took a big V tool and I just went up each side of that and made some kind of make-believe looking spine thing back there. I didn't figure, first of all, I'm not even sure if there's a market for a skull or not. And I ended up just throwing a bunch of puzzle pieces here in the front. I'm pretty much done with this guy. It's been a nice study. I been messing around with, I showed you this guy once before. He's the basswood. Now, this piece of basswood was extremely hard. I didn't really enjoy it that much. Anyway, I got him brought along. I'm trying to think of a theme where I can use all of these skulls in the same theme, because I did bring along, it's the guy who fell down there a minute ago. I don't know whether you guys can see it or not here, but look at the grain pattern in this catalpa. It is just so wild of a grain. And there was a limb or a knot right in through here. But, in the past, what I have done sometimes with catalpa wood is I have actually taken a torch, and I'm not sure I would do that with this one. I think it's going to be cool when I put the finish on it, just that strong grain popping out. But I have taken a torch with this wood and just burned the heck out of it, because the grain on this catalpa is a hard, soft in between these layers. And when you do that, the soft area burns out, and then you take a flap sander and sand it, or you could use a steel brush wheel on a drill or something, and you can brush out that soft grain and then burn it where it's all black and put a coat of lacquer on it. And it's so wild because the grain will pop out on it. Also, since we're almost to the end of our skull carving thing, now you guys might remember when I started roughing out this skull out of the butternut. And see, it's still just chainsaw. But now this one turned a little weird on me, because it was going to be a skull. But all of a sudden, he began to get alien on me. And instead of digging his eye sockets in like I did on these other skulls, there was a couple beers involved, you guys. And anyway, I started turning him into an alien, which I think I'll go ahead and carve him out into a skinny little alien looking guy. So, but I was having fun. And I just always want to stress that to you guys that even watch this, or maybe you're carving at home or something. You know, this is a labor of love. I love carving. I love the wood, the way it rolls off. Look at the grain in this guy here. It's this is a mediocre, hard piece of butternut. Um, wasn't a great pleasure to carve, but then it was a lot better than that catalpa. The catalpa was just hard and crumbly. Um, I'll get his teeth in there tonight the best I can, even if I just end up V-tooling his teeth in there. So, anyway, I'll be talking at you guys a little bit later. This aspen, it is soaking this stuff in. I'm using the polyurethane stuff that I normally do use because it's a quick, easy seal. Um, and I'm amazed. I thought that it would turn this aspen a little more yellow colored, but it's really not turning the wood much different color. And you know, guys, I could have spent 2 hours sanding on this skull. But for one thing, I'm not going to try to sell the skull. I'll probably end up giving this to somebody, whoever wants it, you know. And we were just doing this basically as a project for our Woodcarver's Corner. And the whole idea was to study the base of the face, so the foundation of the face. And so here I am at the end of this project. I did have a really good time, you guys. Um, some late nights here and there I spent with the alien that we just talked about and the other skulls. Uh, I have to tell you this quick story while I'm putting this stuff on. Is that alien, I had him in the vise and I was pounding away on him. And at one point, he done a flip flop where he would just spun around and was upside down like a propeller in my vise. Of course, you're out there carving by yourself, and I had to tell him. I said, "Boy, I've been there, done that, dude." uh, but the whole idea with that story, you guys, it's just I was having fun, you know. Oh, other things that while I'm putting this on, I wanted to talk to you guys about is, you know, we had the wind's blowing coming up here pretty good outside, you guys. But we had several people write to us on comments about stuff. And the other day we got a comment from a guy who had been in one of my classes years ago. Back, I used to teach 3-foot cigar store Indians, you know, back in the day. And he had been in my class at Silver Dollar City. And he was amazed that I was still teaching, and he was thrilled to have, he ran across me on YouTube somehow. So it was kind of cool to hear from him. And we've had some comments. One of the things that we're going to try to get to in this next few sessions of Woodcarver's Corner is back to doing some simple beginner type projects, because that is one of the comments that we've had as we must have some beginner type people watching us, because we had requests to go back and do some beginner type subjects. So here in the next couple months on Woodcarver's Corner, you will actually see us go back to doing some simple stuff. I'm brushing his teeth here, you guys, see here. So anyway, I thought that this finish would turn this thing darker than it is. I'm getting a little all over my hand there. I think I better lay him down. And that aspen wood is just like a sponge. You might notice, man, it is just soaking that finish in there. But anyway, I've had a good time doing the skulls, and we're reaching the end of them. Now, I do want to remind you of this. Our numbers are growing. I want to thank you guys for watching, and we're getting some feedback, people writing stuff and asking questions, which I plan on answering some of the questions on our next episodes of Woodcarver's Corner. But I want to thank you guys for watching and tell other people about us. We're trying to grow this channel. Hopefully we're getting more and more. If you're in a carvers club or something and you've seen this, tell other carvers about us. So we'll continue to come up with subjects for you. We'll see you next time on Woodcarver's Corner.